Hi, Mikel.
Alex.
Just speaking to David Raya there about the campaign you had last season in the Champions League. What's the feeling coming into this one?
Well, very excited to start again from scratch in a beautiful place, in a stadium that is going to generate something special. We're looking forward to that, and I'm very excited again to step by step start to build some momentum and start to have some wins.
Can I just ask about a couple of fitness issues you have in the squad? William Saliba trained today, but didn't seem to be. Martin Odegaard, is he available?
No, so Gavi, Kai, Ben, and Martin is still out, unfortunately.
And this season, there seems to be a lot of talk about the way teams are playing, a lot more set pieces, long throws, and maybe a more direct nature in football. Why do you think that is? You're a team that have been taking advantage of those set pieces and throw-ins for a while.
Evolution of the game. The game is faster, the space is smaller, and everybody's trying to take advantages from other aspects of the game that are obviously key, actually, to win football matches. And at the end, you have to dominate nowadays everything in football to give yourself the best chance to win the games.
Miguel from the Independent.
Mikel, you've spoken a lot in the last week about being from the area, how great Bilbao is. You played a minute here as a Real Sociedad player. Do you still kind of feel that, or is there any sense of that old rivalry coming into this experience for you? And because obviously there's actually quite a strong Real Sociedad contingent.
Yes, of course. We land in Bilbao. That's normally where I land. When I go back home to San Sebastian, it's an hour drive from there. All my family is from there. And you just sense the passion, the rivalry, the football atmosphere, and great to be here. Never been in this stadium before, so good experience.
Jordan, Hassan?
Hi, Mikel. Can I just check, has Martin flown out with the team, or is he back home? He's back home.
Yeah.
Just how important, I know you've spoken about it before this season, but rotation, especially this year in the Champions League, is it a case of we're not going to see the same starting 11 in every game in the Champions League because there's a chance to rotate and give other players a rest and other players a chance?
Yes, well, it would depend on the availability of the squad, the form of the players. Now, unfortunately, we have a few players already out, so that is already limited in certain positions. But hopefully, we come to the point that the competition and the level of performance of the players is that high that we are able to do that very efficiently to win more football matches. That's the objective.
And with Kai and Gabi out, kind of Victor's on his own up there, are you going to have a chance to be able to rest him at all and bring other players into that role, or do you think he's going to have to leave the line now for a while without a real rest?
Well, let's see it against Forest at the end. Mikel played as a 9. We have Leo can play there. We have other options or formations that we can adjust to that. At the moment, Victor is doing really well, so really happy with that.
Isan, Daily Mail.
Hi, Mikel. Do you have any updates on Bukayo Saka, where he is with his injury?
No, I think it's still quite a lot of things to go through. Very early to understand which week he's going to be available, but he will certainly be pushing to be available as quick as possible.
Your team, of course, reached the semi-finals last season in this competition. This time round, with the squad that you've got now, you've having spent £250 million and the reinforcements you've got in all positions, do you now see this as a moment where you can go one step further and possibly get to the final, win the competition maybe?
Yeah, like the rest of the teams that they have done the same, and they continue to do that, and they've won it in many occasions. That's the aim in the beginning, but we all know that it's going to be a really long journey. The margins in this competition are super small, and you have to be at your very best from day one to give yourself the best possible chance.
And what in particular did you learn from the competition last season, which you're going to take into the competition this time round?
That we are good enough, that we can compete against any opposition on the day. And on top of that, two things have to go your way. You need to have a full squad available when it comes to the most critical moments in the season. And then as well, when the ball has to go in the right moment or with the right decision, it has to be as well because the margins are so small.
Amy, Athletic.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Was part of the strengthening in a lot of numbers this summer down to that feeling when you're in the semi-final and your numbers are short and you think, I don't want to be here next year, where you're struggling to put out your best team when it counts?
Well, when we were training, we had 8 or 9 fit players, and we're going to games with 13 players, and at that level it's extremely difficult. But I think even with that condition, we did really, really well. We gave ourselves an unbelievable chance, and we were very unlucky in the semi-final not to get through.
David Raya was just here and he was talking about how much it almost seemed to still hurt when he thinks about the semi-final and being in that position. I hate to take you back to that moment, but how much does it drive you to have that experience as a young manager where you get so close to the top of the mountain?
Well, it is that, and that moment you get deflated, and you have to understand what you need to do to put yourself back in the same position and start actions actually that matter to give yourself the chance to achieve that, and that's it. You take a lot of learnings from it. It's painful because it's not only what we feel, it's about I think the expectation that we created and the real conviction that we had within the club, the team, that we could go all the way, because we showed a very high level of consistency and quality throughout the competition, and learn from it and try to be better.
Okay, a couple more in English and we'll go to Spanish questions. George from BBC.
Mikel, hello. Sorry, just the way you've started the season, do you sense from the players that after the hurt of last season, they're ready to win the Champions League? And you mentioned...
But it's not that simple. I mean, you are so willing to do and you want to be better. I sense a very clear intention that they want to be better every single day. And that's the start and the end. And there is nothing else to control, create the energy, the belief amongst the players, the understanding and the feeling that we can compete against any opposition, and yeah, certainly they have that.
You mentioned about flying into Bilbao, so is all of your family coming to this match tomorrow? Is your phone
all
been
of
pinging?
them, no, but a big majority will come, and I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
Mark, ESPN.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You're getting a lot of questions about winning the Champions League, and understandably it's the start of the season, but Arsenal are probably the biggest club that's never won it. Is there a pressure that you feel with that, because Liverpool won it multiple times, Man United, Chelsea? You want to win it, obviously, but how important is it to win that first one for Arsenal?
Well, that tells you, with our long history, how difficult it is, because we haven't won it yet, and that's the opportunity. That's how I see it. You know, the pressure is the opportunity that thrives, that energy, that willingness to be better every single day, to make decisions that are in that direction, and every decision. Then, if we win it that much, every decision has to be with that standards and with those expectations, and let's give our best chance to try to do it.
And do you feel that going close actually helps? I mean, you worked Pep Guardiola at Man City for a few years when they were knocking on the door. Does that disappointment ultimately help you get over the line?
Yeah, and the big clubs, I mean, they try 7, 8, 9 times, they win 2. So in this competition, it's going to be 1, and you fail much more than you succeed. That's the nature of that. That's the history of our club, and that's what we want to change.
Okay, some questions in Spanish. First, Juan from Marca.
Sí, Mikel.
Yes, Mikel, good evening. An expert coach like Chingurri Valverde, I don't know whether you heard him, said categorically that you're one of the best managers in the world. What do you have to say to that? And 2, 20 years after leaving Real Sociedad, you come back to your country, this one, to compete, I think, for the first time. What do you feel, although you already mentioned it a little bit in English? Well, first of all, I'd like to thank him for his words. For me, he's always been a reference for several reasons. Firstly, because he's been in this profession for over 20 years, and everywhere he's gone, he's left 2 things. First of all, successes in the clubs he worked for, and the mark he made in the way he behaves, the humanity he shows, and now how natural he is in his profession. And above all, I think that there's a way of doing things that puts him apart from many other managers. So what I need to do is learn from him and improve. And the second question, I'm very glad to be back. It's been 20 years since I was here professionally, obviously in a different role, and I very much wanted to come and experience the atmosphere in this stadium, and to face a rival that's going to be very difficult, very demanding, but I'm very excited. Hello, Mikel. I don't know whether the pre-season match is any use in preparing tomorrow's match, or whether there are 2 different moments in the season. No. It was useful to obtain some information and have a good feeling after the match, but we know that tomorrow's going to be a different world. This is the Champions League. The level of both teams will rise, the context will be different, and it's going to be a very different game. And I hope we can get the result we want. Hello, Mikel. Good evening. Rubio from Cadena Cope. I don't know whether you've heard about Lamine injured, Nico injured. You've had 3 players in the Spanish squad. Is it a big bother every time there's a break for the national teams? Well, yes, because we lost 3 very important players, but we've also lost very important players through injuries. And this is part of the normal process, and we just have to try to get these players ready. It's almost impossible to play 64 matches, and that's why all managers and clubs need more players and more resources. Hello, Mikel. Diego González, Cadena SER. I would like to talk a bit about the match. Athletic is going to have a lot of faith in their 15-20 minutes push and pressure, and we'll see later on how they plan the match, whether they play higher or deeper. But what do you expect from Athletic tomorrow? That obviously they'll try to do what they want. And it's an extremely dangerous team when they do that. And at home, they had the capacity to do that in different ways. And we want a very different kind of match to what they want. And as usual, we'll try to diffuse their quality and try to use our best players and play. The key of Athletic is in their high pressure. Where do you think the key is to play your way here in San Mamés? Well, when they do that, get out of that pressure as effectively as possible and to try to use the spaces they use. They change the way they play a great deal, especially depending on the context, the match and who they're playing against very often. So we have to try to adjust things. We're a very aggressive team and I hope that it will be a very good match. Yes, Mikel, good afternoon. Javi Beltran, Diario AS. A couple of things. Is Mikel Merino at the best point in his career? And two, do you think that Valverde is going to feel the absence of Nico Williams very much in the 11? Well, Mikel Merino has been at a very high level for a very long time. But now the transcendence of what he's doing is enormous. His quality, his character, his personality, the variability he gives us and his performance. And regarding Nico, well, I imagine Ernesto would like to have him, like we would like to have other great players that can't be there tomorrow. But we'll try to do the best we can with the players we have. Javier Ortiz de Lazcano from El Correo, welcome home. In Nico Williams' turbulent summer, was there any interest from Arsenal in signing Nico? Well, I can't say. I can only say that Nico is a great player that you enjoy every week here and in the national team, and I can't say much more.